Very valid distraction. So my name is Barrett White, and I am a journalist with a small magazine out of Houston called Spectrum South. But we cover queer culture and identity, personal narratives throughout the whole southern U.S. Sometimes we do like book reviews by queer authors. Sometimes we do, album reviews by queer musicians. So there is that aspect, but a larger portion of the magazine is narratives. And I feel like the narratives are probably really what bring people together, because these are just people's stories. All the writers, when we were hired, and new writers as they come on board, write their own personal narratives. So it's not just like queer news or queer culture. We also do these narratives that are just telling people stories, what they've been through, what their lives are like, what it's like in the city that they live in. And that really gives this humanity to a community, individual humanity, that, if you're not in the community or you don't understand this community, like, just read about this person's life, and you can see, just listen to their narrative. This is their story, where they came from, what matters to them, and why they're here, and why they stayed here. And it's very personable. It's very approachable.
Let's see some not terrible magic.
That's all right. I got
Pretty good.
Okay, cool.
it. All right.
Bring it in. All right, watch. We're gonna try some of that Queen of Hearts, okay?
Okay.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to put your hand on top of that Queen. I want you to sandwich his hands.
Yeah.
Now that's not the Queen, right?
No.
That's five of hearts, right? Now watch that five and watch that Queen. Ready?
All right.
Watch that 1, 2, 3. You got that Queen.
That's real good magic.
That's real good.
Man.
There's this idea that we kind of grow up and flee the South and we wind up in San Francisco or LA or New York. But there are a lot of us still here in the South, and we're not necessarily being held down by the beliefs in our communities either. We tend to thrive here. When I came out, my parents are pretty Christian, and they took the family to church, and we had this pastor giving out these very antiquated statistics on what it means to be gay. And these were statistics that were straight out of the 80s, telling the congregation that he was only here to save the gays, and he loved the gays, and that's why he was saying that our life expectancy is no greater than 40. So it's a very problematic and troubling place to be as someone who is just then coming into his own self. But then you make your way into more tolerant spaces, and you figure out that there's this whole other world that you didn't know existed. Growing up, I never thought of myself as a very political person, but I grew up to be very politically active. Like I said, I'm here in Austin for a public policy convention. So it kind of wound up being a very big part of my life, because when you're part of a minority community, you unfortunately have to come to grips with the fact that a lot of times the rights of a minority are going to be voted on by the majority. When I was small, I thought that I was going to grow up, I knew that I was queer from a very young age, but I still thought that I was going to grow up to have a wife and kids, because I didn't expect to ever be able to come out to my parents. And coming out was not smooth. It was very difficult. And since you asked about my own personal experience, it was having to figure out who I am without the guidance that I had growing up. That's why I got into journalism. That's why I got into, really trying to tell people stories and get these voices out there, because it's something that I really wish that I had had. It really helped me grow into the type of person who is comfortable with who he is, knows what kind of person he is, what he wants, and this community around me really helped raise me into that by being there for me and showing me where I can go and what I can do. Not everyone has that, I don't think. So.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this episode. Thanks to Barrett and Spectrum South for letting us cover his story, and check out their magazine if you want some real moving stories. We have a feature film version of the Teardrop Project launching on November 2nd, so keep an eye out for that. Rent it, buy it, share the love if you like this episode, become a patron for lots of extras for the feature and for this episode. Thanks guys.